You know, what's the difference between being a single guy and being a single guy who's living the Sikh lifestyle? You know, one of the things that we understand as Sikhs is that, you know, women are either sisters or daughters or mothers. So what happens when, you know, you're kind of friends with someone, but there's a different energy happening, and it's kind of starting to reach a little out of the friend space or out of the sister space, and you know, you can feel that's happening, and you know, where do you take that with grace? In other words, how do you begin to explore that, gee, something's happening here that's more than, you know, daughter, sister, wife, or mother?
There's definitely a difference between being on this path and being, you know, a normal person, whatever that is. I think when you don't have this image to carry forward in your life, there's a perceived sense of freedom. It's kind of like you only represent yourself. Whereas I find as being a Sikh, I feel like what I do and how I represent myself is a reflection on 24 other million people that may look like me, that represent this path. So I'm very aware of my behavior and how I approach something. So I tend to be more direct and honest, actually, on this. If I'm just more direct and honest, things will either happen or not happen, but it's more, there's more clarity in it, I think, more truth.
Yes, and in terms of breaking the ice, bringing it to the verbal, you know, you said patience pays, and like once we've developed a meditative mind, it becomes easier to sort of look for the context clues and try to keep yourself in a neutral space so that you can see the reality of the situation rather than seeing what you want to see.
Yeah.
And hopefully, you know, you can learn enough from the situation. I know that a few times I've been interested and I've looked and stepped back and observed a situation and realized, oh, that was me feeling this, and this is not actually what's happening. And I learn when I do that if I speak up and say something, this will look like it's coming out of left field for this person. And Yogi also taught us that, you know, women don't want to be confronted on this level too. So it's a respect thing, you know. We respect our sisters enough to treat them as sisters until they give us the green light to treat them as something else.
So I was just having interests, and I thought it was a shared thing, and I just put it out there. I mean, the first thing I said to her was like, "Do you want to be married?" And she was like, "Wow." Well, you know, that was a big shock. I'm like, "Well, I didn't say to me. I just married in general, just to see if we have the same goals and find where our commonalities were and where we were, and just kind of handle it that way." And I think honesty is always the best policy. It's just, you know, and actually she shot me down, actually, the first part of it. She's like, blah, blah, you know, all these excuses or whatever. I'm like, okay. She's like, okay. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you know, I didn't tell you how I felt because I wanted a response from you. The gift is how I feel. What you do with that is, you know, your business. And it's like, you know, I don't expect to receive anything back. I'm just being honest with how I feel. And I think that was actually the key factor in probably having her feel something more towards me, was there's no pressure on. I didn't put any pressure on her to have to feel any certain way, I think.
So I'm kind of hearing a common note around expectations, and that when you put expectations or projections into a relationship, that then things get unreal, things get off the straight track. And the ability to be as neutral as you described, you know, and get clear with yourself and then be that clear with the other person, that takes a lot of self-awareness and self-discipline. So I think that what I'm hearing is that people need to work on themselves first, in a way, because otherwise the relationship kind of becomes a reflection of whatever karma is being played out from, you know, from yourself at that point, right?